Hello, and welcome to a Pokemon XD Gala Darkness Espeon only challenge. Now, if you've seen or played this game, you'd know that it mostly consists of double battles. Now, so the question is, can you even play this game with just a single Pokemon? And the answer is yes. In fact, I have a full series on all the eeveelutions. This is the final one here. So let's get right into it. For base stats, Espeon has 65 HP, 65 attack, 60 defense, 130 special attack, 95 special defense, and 110 speed. It gets access to mostly normal and psychic type moves, but it does get a couple ghost type moves, and a single steel type move. If you see any markings through any of the moves, it's just that they don't exist in this game, or they are post-game. As per usual, we talk to this guy to go get an Eevee stone, in this case the Sun Shard, which allows us to evolve our Eevee into Espeon once it has enough friendship. And here it is now. And when it does evolve, it gets the Synchronize ability, and our Espeon has a Gentle nature, which raises our special defense and lowers our defense, which makes us even more frail in the face of physical attackers. So with the Power Rangers, as we normally do, this is usually my best gauge to tell how a Pokemon's going to do throughout the run. And we really have very little issue with any of these guys, simply because as you saw, I got confusion there, so I have Dark and Psychic type attacks, which can hit basically everything at loose neutral other than Red's Houndour. So all of these are basically a breeze. So what I'd rather talk about is, as I said at the beginning, this is the last eeveelution video. I think I'm definitely scheduled to do the Teddy Ursa one next, just because I think it'll be the most interesting, starting out with a Shadow Pokemon. But, yeah, as I said in the last video as well, if you have any suggestions, put them down in the comments. I'll look through them and go see if there's any Pokemon that I want to use there. Because I don't really want this to be a tedious grind type of playthrough or series. I will definitely do some more grindy Pokemon, like the Eevee one was, but yeah, on top of that, I think I'm going to change the game speed to 2 times now. Every time you've been watching me play, it's at 1 times. So I think I'm going to change that. Anyway, going through the Cypher hideout, I pick up the move Quick Attack, which is an easy replace on Tackle. It's just better all around. And then also I'm going to catch this Carvanha here. Problem is that Carvanha didn't get caught, and I'm about to take my first loss. So that's unfortunate. Anyway, back to it. I actually do some damage to it this time, and it catches right away, so I'm able to get the Dark Glasses to raise the power of Bite. Now, if you've seen any of these videos, you know I like to show off a random trainer that I had a lot of trouble with. And surprisingly this time, it snaps Lovrina's second in command. And the only reason for that is because of my general frailty to physical type moves, and the fact that I just can't take dark type moves either. So usually I'd leave the Murkrow alive for most other Pokemon, but because of Pursuit, it's just constantly doing a decent amount of damage. And I don't really have anything super strong to actually take it down other than Bite at this point, because dark types are immune to psychic type moves. I can't hit them. So the rest of the battle's fine. It's just the lead 2 Pokemon are quite strong against Espeon especially. And it's kind of a precursor to the rest of the run. But anyway. So here we are at Lovrina. She leads with a Love Disc into Beautifly, and she's the first boss of the game. We use Bite on Beautifly, but it's not quite a one-shot, which is a little unfortunate, but these two normally don't do too much damage anyway. I go for Quick Attack just to save some PP, and also because it moved first. It's not really necessary though. Out comes Roselia, which is part Poison type, so my Psychic type moves will be doing quite a bit more to it. And as you can see there, this Eevee is the best equipped to actually take it down, compared to all the others. Out comes Delcatty, her strongest Pokemon, and also her Shadow Pokemon. Another Water Gun, doing very little. I use Bite, hoping for a... Never mind, I get a crit, I didn't need a flinch. A Water Gun, but at this point, it's over. Never mind, Love Disc is a little tankier than I thought. Now it's over. And that was Lavrina first try, so not too bad. And of course, with any XD Gale of Darkness video, you have to have the obligatory Mirror Bee. Yep, look at him go. Anyway, we get the move Swift now, which I am going to replace with the move Quick Attack, simply because it does more damage. And I didn't know it at this point, but Swift is actually a spread move, so it'll hit both parties. Now I get to the top of the ONBS building, and I use a Great Ball to catch the Ralts, because it's holding a Twisted Spoon, which will make it so my Psychic-type moves will do even more damage. Which may come in handy, it depends. And then of course, I go to the Real Gam Tower to go pick up the TM for Protect and the TM for Hidden Power. Unfortunately, our Hidden Power type is Poison, which is pretty bad, but it could be worse. It allows us to hit Grass types, but we still have nothing for Steels. And of course, I get the upgrade to Confusion Psybeam. And of course, with it, we wipe out every single one of the Power Rangers with relative ease. So anyway, we're leading right into the first fight against Snaddle. I am a little bit damaged because there is a battle right before. But Psybeam's able to take down the Quagsire in a single hit, which is very nice. Out comes Lunatone, which is his first Shadow Pokemon. Lantern uses Facade, and I wonder if that's just because it knows that I'll take more damage from it. Anyway, a Bite's able to take down the Lunatone. If it hadn't, it would have set up Shadow Sky, and I would have been taking tip damage through the entire battle. Psybeam should be enough to take out Castform, which it does. And then out comes Metang, quite possibly his scariest Pokemon this time, because I only have Bite to do damage to it, or decent damage to it. Which, it looks like it's going to be a 2-shot, so I think I should be fine. I still got quite a bit of health. How much does Metal Claw do? Okay, Metal Claw does a little bit. Bite takes down the Metang. And Shockwave. I think I should be able to hang on to another. Not quite a one-shot. Facade takes me down. Now the strategy here is very simple and quite obvious. It's just do what I did before, exactly the same, but with more health. Because if I had just had 2 or maybe 3 more health, I could have probably survived that Facade and actually been able to take him down. So I've gone ahead and sped up the recording here because it's the exact same thing you just watched. Like, nothing really changed. Except for Psych Up here. I didn't know what Psych Up did. It copies the opponent's stat changes, which in a game like this can either be amazing or basically useless. And I think more often than not it'd be useless, so I decided not to get it. Anyway, with a lot more health and a flinch? Nope. Oh, okay, that was a pretty close crit, but anyway, took him down. As with most of the Eevees, once I find the leftovers, I just replace whatever item they had, and now they have the leftovers. And here I go and pick up the TM for Psychic from the Snag'em hideout, and replace Psybeam immediately because it's not really as good. Moving right along into the Gonzap fight, he leads with a Nuzleaf and an Electrode. Now if you see him at full health, you might find that a little odd because usually you come into this battle a little damaged because of the fight before. But Espeon could kind of just stall until it healed all the way up. So that's what I did. Anyway, a Psychic is able to take down the Electrode. And a Psychic is able to take down the Vileplume. And then out comes Wishcash. Now Nuzleaf is just going to spam Hyper Beams from here on out. They do quite a bit of damage just because of how frail I am. Another Psychic takes down a Whiscash. And then out comes Skarmory, who is probably his most dangerous Pokemon, simply because I don't have the... Oh, actually, that almost was a one-shot. But I don't have any neutral affecting damage against it, whereas Nuzleaf I at least have Hidden Power Poison, which does do super effective damage. Anyway, a Bite takes down the Skarmory. Nuzleaf must recharge, and I just used Bite anyway. I don't know why I used Bite. I think I was just spamming A. Anyway, a second Bite will take it down, and that's Gonzap first attempt. And before going into the Gorgon fight, I learned the move Morning Sun, which will heal me half health in normal weather, 3/4 in sun, or a quarter in most other conditions. Yeah, anyway. So, now I have that. I use Psychic on the Celio immediately, which should take it down. It does. Out comes Slowking. Now I use Psychic on the Lairon, which I don't think it will one-shot, never mind, it does. With ease, it looks like. Out comes Ursaring. Possibly the scariest Pokemon, simply because it's got a pretty decent attack stat, and I'm confused. Well, that's not great. I go for Bite, and hit myself. Slowking uses Earthquake, doing a little bit of damage, not too bad. I go for Psychic, and I'm able to take down the Ursaring. And then out comes the Primeape. Now this is his first Shadow Pokemon. Now Slowking uses Headbutt. I don't think I've ever seen it use Headbutt before. I use Psychic again, but hit myself. Shadow Rush gets me quite low. Earthquake, down to 7. Now at this point I do just have to gamble on a Morning Sun. And I snapped out of Confusion luckily, so there wasn't any threat of danger. Another Shadow Rush does a decent amount to me. Another Earthquake. And it actually gets a critical hit on its teammate. So Primeape goes down, out comes Hypno, which isn't a physical attacker, so I should be taking its moves better than the Primeape's. So I go for another heal. Shadow Storm does... yeah, way less. So at this point, I think I can probably just stall until the Earthquakes take down the Hypno, but it's not doing a ton of damage to the Hypno. So I like to take it out, and it doesn't quite do that. Hypno's pretty tanky, isn't it? Another Earthquake, luckily no crit on me this time, but it does take out its partner. Another Morning Sun, just to play it safe, in case it's not a one-shot with Bite. But at this point, it's basically over. I use Bite, and it goes down. Nope. It's a good thing I played it safe, I guess. Okay, but now it definitely goes down. So that was Gorgon, first try. Now, of course, to get to Citydark Isle, we have to ride in style in our Robo Kyogre. Oh yeah. Anyway. Wow, nice island. So we go straight into the Loverina fight here, because she's basically at the entrance. She leads with a Gardevoir and a Gorbis, which, if you've seen the other videos, you know that Gorbis is a huge liability. It has Attract, meaning that immediately it'll just make you never hit because you're immobilized by love. So it's too much of a risk. Unfortunately, I do get frozen there, but I do defrost immediately, so that's good. I use Psychic on Roselia because, once again, it's half poison type. Now comes Farfetch'd, which is our first Shadow Pokemon. And maybe the scariest of them? Psychic should take it down, though, in a single hit. And it does. And then out comes Altaria, who is our last Shadow Pokemon. and an Ice Punch, but that's all right. Never mind, I'm frozen. I use Psychic, still frozen. Shadow Break is a physical move, so it does quite a bit of damage to me. Thunder Punch isn't going to do really anything. Another Psychic, still frozen. Shadow Break goes out again, doing quite a bit of damage again. And I think it might be over. Unless I thaw this turn, which I do. Psychic. Takes it down in a single hit. Now don't get frozen or paralyzed. Oh, I'm sitting really low, but I think I got this. I go for Morning Sun just in case. No reason to risk it. And now I go for Bite. And take it down in a single hit. That was Lavrina first try. So moving on to Snaddle here, I do think of all the trainers so far, I think this one's going to pose the greatest challenge, because he's got multiple steel types on his team, meaning that we're going to have to use not so effective dark and psychic type moves to try and take him down. Anyway, as before, Psychic takes down the Quagsire super easily, and Metal Claw's not really doing that much damage. So that's good. I use Bite on Scizor, doing about a quarter, maybe a little over. Metal Claws are fine, I can take those all day. I decide to use Psychic, and it takes it down with a critical hit, which is quite lucky. Out comes Solrock, his first Shadow Pokemon. Another Metal Claw. Now the only thing I don't want is Metang getting an attack boost from Metal Claw. That would be probably the worst case scenario. I'm able to take down the Solrock in a single bite. Out comes Cast Form. And luckily the Metang's not getting it. Another Psychic should take down the Cast Form quite easily. And out comes Starmie. His second Shadow Pokemon, or his last. Another Metal Claw. You know, I kinda thought this would be a harder fight. I outspeed the Starmie and take it down in a single hit. And I know Metang can hardly hurt me. Huh. I use Bite because it is part Psychic type. That way I get the neutral damage. And with that, Snaddle is taken down first try. I really thought he was going to be more difficult than that. Anyway, going into what I think is the second hardest battle in the game, I forget Hidden Power and learn Protect. And here he is, Ardos. He leads with a Swellout and a Alakazam. And the reason that this pairing is... Swellow, not Swellout. The reason this pairing is so scary is because Swellow will immediately use either Shadow Sky or Shadow Half, which halves the health of everything on the field. It doesn't really hurt Alakazam too much because usually it's a one-shot anyway. So it hurts tanky Pokemon, especially your own, more so than anything else. And since we're so high leveled at this point, we take more damage across the board. Anyway, we're able to take down most everything in a single hit, and the Kingdra usually uses Hydro Pump here. But it's just going to spam Double Edge, because it does way more damage. Now, I don't know if I can actually keep up with that amount of damage being done before I can take down the Snorlax, which is definitely the biggest threat here. Another Double Edge comes out, and it's doing quite a bit to me. But that's alright, I can protect, and then heal the next turn to get maximum healing. And now I'm basically at full health. A Double Edge does a good amount to me, and then Shadow End hits and does nearly 3/4 of my health. Okay, that's a bit concerning. I go for another Protect and Heal, hoping for a miss on Shadow End, or something so I can take down the Kingdra. A Double Edge. And Shadow End hits. Okay, that's attempt number 1, but not too bad. Moving into attempt number 2, I do kind of wonder if it would have been better to teach Substitute over Protect. I'm not sure. Because at least then, with this strategy that I have in mind, I can't be frozen by the Alakazam's Ice Punches. But anyway, I'm keeping the Alakazam alive because it's doing very small damage. The only risk I have is getting frozen. So, and since I can one-shot basically everything else other than the Snorlax, I think it's the safest bet is just leave it alive. So anyway, Heracross goes down. Out comes Electabuzz, his first Shadow Pokemon. Now, I hadn't tried keeping the Electabuzz alive, but I think it would have been worse. It does have Shadow Storm, which is just a stronger Ice Punch, but also it might also have a physical move, Shadow move. Anyway, another Ice Punch. Now at this point, I decide to take down the Alakazam, because even if I get hit here, I think I might still be able to survive a Shadow End, which I don't get hit. And now I use Bite. Getting a crit, which is very nice, and a flinch. Now the Snorlax does have leftovers, which does stall out this battle quite a bit. Shadow End misses again. It is only a 50-50 chance. Another Bite. Takes it quite low. Another flinch. And I just Psychic now, because it's going to do more damage, and I take him down second try. I really thought this was going to be the hardest fight. Now, I didn't show it in any video or anything, but there was an Aeron earlier in Dark Isle with Iron Tail that did about half my health with a single Iron Tail. So I do have some fears going into this battle, especially against Aggron. And I did think it was going to use Protect immediately, but it didn't, which means that it's probably going to use Iron Tail. And it misses. Okay. That's lucky. I use Protect here because they're about to all use Protect and Earthquake. I then go for Bite on the Aggron, hoping for a flinch. And after I see that damage, I'm thinking that a Psychic should be able to take it down with ease. And luckily I do get a flinch. I go for Protect again so I don't take Earthquake damage. A little bit of healing. I go for Psychic to take it down. And it does. And then out comes Poliwrath, his first Shadow Pokemon. And if you've seen the previous video, the Umbreon video, you would know that while Poliwrath is a fighting type. I know, wild. I struggled so hard in that last video against Poliwrath because I just forgot it wasn't a pure water type. I thought it was... or... I forgot it was a fighting type. I thought it was pure water. So I struggled so hard against it. Anyway. A Bite to take down Mr. Mime, but not quite. It uses Double Edge because it's doing more damage. It's not going to use Earthquake. I use Bite again to take it down. And now it's just me and the Walrein, and I'm pretty sure in one hit I'll be able to take it down with Psychic. Yep. And that's Gorgon. Pretty easy too. So, as you know, Espeon's a little frail to physical type moves. And, well, I'll just show you. I use Psychic on the Ninjask because it does have Silver Wind, which is a bug type move, so it does a decent amount of damage. Out comes Salamence, who is a pseudo-legendary, and because it's a Shadow Pokemon, it always has super effective damage. And it's got a kinda strong physical move. How much does Psychic do? That's not enough. And Shadow Rush does half. Shadow Wind misses, luckily, but I get pelted by Fruity Pebbles. I take down the Salamence. And Manectric's not that strong. Sure, Shadow End is pretty strong, but it shouldn't be able to. Never mind, I'm dead. So anyway, welcome to the fourth attempt. This is currently the highest amount of battles I've had to fight someone. And that's just because he's got a lot of strong physical attackers, compared to all the other trainers really having strong special attackers. I did try leaving the Ninjask alive for one of them, but that definitely did not go well, because it just did about a third of my health every time it used Silver Wind. And I did take all of my rare candies. All 6 of them. So I am 6 levels higher now, and I do one-shot the Salamence, which is pretty nice. Now luckily this battle isn't too hard to get back to, because there is a save point, or a respawn point whenever you lose, just right around the corner. So it doesn't take too long to actually reattempt this one. So I can just keep doing this. I wouldn't have cared if I had taken another 20 losses, because it only takes 2 minutes to get back here. Anyway. So I use Psychic on the Marowak because it is holding the Thick Club, meaning that it has double its attack stat, so it would be doing a ton of damage. And surprisingly enough, I think Lapras is the best thing to keep alive at the very end, because Flygun's just going to keep spamming Double Edge. So it's a bit of a danger to me, so I decide to take it down. And now it's just Lapras. It uses Shadow Storm and does... Okay, that actually did quite a lot. I didn't think it'd do that much. And now that the Shadowy Aura is faded, I have to use Morning Sun to heal. Otherwise it'd be doing a quarter, or healing a quarter of my health instead of half. So that's a bit unfortunate. This turn I am going to use Protect, because I want to stall out the Storm turns. I go for Bite, hoping for a flinch. I'm doing about a third. I don't get it. Shadow Storm comes out. Yeah, it's doing quite a bit of damage. Fruity Pebbles also hurt. So I'm gonna go for I go for Psychic. And actually take it down. So that's Eldest. It didn't look that hard, but it was pretty difficult. So moving on, before we can fight the final boss, we have to fight the big box legendary Shadow Lugia, who is a bit of a pushover as usual, but you know, it still does a decent amount of damage to me, just a small chunk. Another Bite takes it down to very low. It flinches, luckily, so I decide to go ahead and Protect here to save as much health as I can going into the final battle, which looks to be 188. So I'm only about 10 points down. And so here we go with the final battle. I use Protect immediately, try to get a little bit of extra health. And Rhydon is definitely the bigger threat here, because I think if it hits a Shadow End, I die. Like, I don't think I have enough health or strength to actually take one of those. Out comes Executor, who looks like a better candidate to keep alive, simply because it's got a much, much lower attack stat. Now, unfortunately, I do get burned by Moltres, which I think dooms this attempt, but let's go ahead and take it down anyway. A crit, just to guarantee it, but I think it might have been a one-shot anyway. Out comes Tauros. Now, Tauros is a bit of a threat because it always sets up Shadow Sky, meaning that I won't be healing as well, and that Shadow End did way more than I thought it would. I think this is a dead attempt. I decide to take the experience, though. Out comes Articuno. And Tauros uses Shadow Rush to take me down. Okay, but not too bad a first attempt. So here we are on attempt number 4, which is the one I win. But I really thought it'd be a little simpler. I thought the path to victory was a bit straightforward, a bit more straightforward than it was. So anyway, out comes Executor. Moltres uses Shadow Fire again, which every time I tried this before, I basically always got burnt. So this is my first real attempt at this fight. So I'm going to take it down immediately so I don't have to risk it. Unfortunately, I do have to gamble on a 50-50 whether or not I get hit with Shadow End. And I don't. So now I take down the Executor, which means that now the Tauros is able to set up Shadow Sky, which isn't ideal. On top of that, this Articuno here has a physical shadow move, a special shadow move that has a chance to freeze, and doesn't get taken down by a single Psychic. So it is a bit scary. So I decide to go for Protect to stall out the Shadow Sky a bit. And I go for Bite on Articuno, hoping for a flinch and to get its health down far enough to where a Psychic should be able to take it down. Luckily, the Tauros just uses Shadow Hold here, and here comes Shadow Chill, which does quite a bit. Fruity Pebbles Rain. I use Protect again. A little bit more, but I heal off all the damage it does. So now I use Psychic to take down the Tauros because it's going to use a physical shadow move. And then out comes his last Pokemon, Zapdos, which is a one-shot with Psychic, I learned. So I think I'm good, but unfortunately, that was a very, very close crit. So I need to either Protect or Morning Sun. I think I decide, yeah, to Morning Sun immediately, because I should be able to take both of their attacks. As long as I don't get paralyzed or frozen, I'm good. And I can definitely take him. It's a little scary, but I definitely can take him, so I decide to go for another. And he uses Shadow Sky. And Articuno uses Shadow Sky, so they both are programmed to go for Shadow Sky whenever the sky is empty. Meaning that I got a free turn. I take Articuno down because it's definitely stronger. And then as long as I don't get paralyzed here, which I don't, I think I should be able to take down Zapdos. Which I decide to do immediately. And that's it. I've beaten the game with Espeon at level 78. And you know what's amazing and a little sad about this? It was at 8 hours and 33 seconds. If I had been just a little faster, just a little bit faster, it would have been able to be under the 8-hour mark. Which cements Espeon as the best eeveelution. By far. It had an average amount of resets, or losses. It had an average move pool, honestly. It had the exact same move pool as Umbreon, but the stats were just so good that it was able to survive both things and, you know, destroy everything in its path before it could take it down. Now, before I forget here, I did actually go to the tier list maker website and find an eeveelution tier list, and I put this together. And I think it's in probably the right order. I think Espeon by far and away is the easiest. I think Jolteon does struggle a bit, but in terms of actual beating the game, is super strong. Umbreon, I think, is the safest choice for teams, because it just pivots well and is very bulky. Same with Vaporeon. And I think Flareon is unfortunately still the worst eeveelution, but it's a very close tie between it and Vaporeon. And then Eevee is honestly pretty terrible, like it hurts to use it. So, anyway, that concludes all the eeveelutions. I hope you enjoyed these videos. I know I've had fun making them. Their quality has always been very questionable, so I'm hoping that I can fix that soon. But if you liked the video, give it a like. If you disliked it, I don't know. If you want to comment or subscribe, that'd be great. Remember, if you want, send some Pokemon suggestions in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to use them at some point. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Bye.